Hello everyone, it's Bob Butero with the YogaLife Institute Summer Meditation Course with Lesson 5, focusing on non-greed. This concept relates to desires, this time for material things. And we noticed from last week's lesson on desires that deep-seated thoughts drive very strong thoughts in our mind and therefore make it hard to meditate. Well, a second type of desire would be related to material items, and we have a couple of exercises to help you understand how you're relating to material items. The item itself is perfectly innocent, if you will. The computer that I'm using right now, the table, the chair, my shirt, all these types of things they're not bad things. My house, car, all the other items that we have in the house. You should see the kitchen. There's 100 appliances and cutlery and you name it. Well, we all have these things. Now, those things are not getting inside of our head and saying, I am making you think thoughts. I'm a desire. Well, what happens is we think about those possessions as if we own them, and then we will tend to have some version of worry or concern about those same items that drives thoughts like a desire. Secondly, we can have a desire for things that we don't yet have that we might want. So I want to challenge, of course, the concept of ownership that actually doesn't really exist if you think outside of the human reality. You know, nobody owns anything, not even our own body, because it's always changing, number one, and number two, everything in the universe is just in the universe. Us saying we own something superimposes that belief on top of the cup that I'm looking at or the computer that I'm looking at. Now, what ownership does is organize material items for human beings so that we don't all drive the same car and we take care of such car and so forth. Now, as you do these exercises, think very deeply about your view on material items and notice how those items affect your thoughts. You can look at the items as things that are temporary, which is a true statement. That ownership, it means that the human being is caring for that item, not necessarily possessing the item. When you start to look at items that way, it doesn't disturb you as much when they basically stop working or break or stop being effective, or that you change them out. And you become much less attached to those things. And then if you start to think about the number of items that are essential for life, you'll realize that in our first world, if you will, Western culture, a majority of the things that we have and use, like this computer even, are not necessarily essential for our existence. The only things that might be essential would be some water, shelter, food, clothing to stay warm, not necessarily to look nice, but just to be warm. You can start to look at basic essentials and then say, well, the way society is structured, if I live in this house, I need a car because there's no public transportation in order to get that food and so forth. So, you can kind of see items in different degrees, and then items that are just complete luxury that aren't needed at all, like a television is probably really not needed. Is the computer needed? Possibly for work. So as you examine these things, you'll start to, again, see another layer of motive for thoughts, if you will, and perhaps you'll have a little fun working at understanding reality as it is, as opposed to this institution that we absorb in terms of ownership and possession. So I might keep this lecture a little shorter, believe it or not. This is a really big topic and the class will unpack it more. I was tempted to speak far too long on this video lecture. So short and sweet, letting go of possessions, realizing that they're changing at all times, and then we start to feel a freedom within ourselves so that we can have possessions but not be possessed by the same possession. Have a great week. See you soon.